Welcome to We Are Women, Unapologetically, the podcast that talks about the good, bad, ugly, and awesome. Careers, life transitions, confidence, and everything in between. Because shift happens, but you don't have to do it alone.
There's a certain kind of silence women learn to use. Not the peaceful kind, not the reflective kind. I am talking about the silence you use to keep things from blowing up. That silence that smooths the moment, the silence that keeps everyone else comfortable, even when it costs you. And let's be honest, we did not learn to stay quiet because we were unsure. We learned to stay quiet because it made everything easier for everyone else. We've learned to read the room. We've learned to anticipate reactions. We have learned how to avoid the eye roll, the tension, and the why are you making this a thing? So we swallow the comment. We brush off the discomfort. We carry the emotional load, and we call it keeping the peace. But staying quiet isn't neutral. It wears you down. It chips away at your confidence, and it teaches people that you will take it every single time. And then one day, something in you says, nope, not this time. A sentence forms that you cannot swallow. A line gets crossed that you are not willing to pretend you didn't hear. And then you finally say the thing you've held in for years. Your body answers first. Relief, confidence, alignment, a sense of, this is who I actually am. Today we are talking about that moment. The moment your voice comes back after years of being conditioned out of it. Not the moment you had a realization, not the moment life gave you clarity, the moment you finally spoke up. The moment you stopped disappearing, and the moment you stopped protecting a dynamic that was never protecting you. Welcome to We Are Women Unapologetically. My name is Jessica Cumming, and today we are diving into the real life moment where your voice returns and nothing feels the same afterward. This episode is for every woman who has ever swallowed a truth, softened a reaction, or stayed quiet just to keep the room comfortable. Because here is the truth. Your silence is shaping your identity far more than you even realize. Not just at work, not just at home, every single place you show up. And today, we are going to be talking about what it looks like when you finally stop shrinking and start speaking. My moment didn't happen in a conference room or a meeting or, quite honestly, even at work. It happened with my own family. Someone had made a comment I had heard 100 times before. A comment about people I worked with, trained with, traveled with. A comment I always felt in my gut, but I never addressed it. They said to me, I hate calling customer service. They don't speak English. And something inside of me finally snapped. Not dramatically, not loudly, just a quiet, steady, enough. For years, I had let that comment slide. I had told myself it wasn't my place. I had told myself it wasn't worth attention. I had told myself, I don't want to make this a thing. But the truth was, I knew it wasn't right. I knew it wasn't true, and I was done protecting their ignorance. So this time, I said it. I looked up and I said, they do speak English. They were born and raised speaking English just like you. They just have an accent. The room went pretty quiet because they expected me to smooth it over. They expected me to laugh it off. They expected the version of me who kept everything comfortable. But that version of me wasn't in the room anymore. They tried to move the goalposts and say, well, yeah, they speak English, but I can't understand them. And I did not take the bait. I didn't soften it. I didn't backpedal. And I simply said, I'm sure it's hard to understand you too. And the truth that washed over me, relief, confidence, alignment, a sense of me being true to myself. And I'm not even going to lie, there was pride, a real pride, because I was done protecting something that never protected me. But here's what I didn't expect. The quiet that came after, not the uncomfortable kind, the kind where I realized that I was the one that wasn't hiding anymore. I had spent so much time managing everyone else's comfort that I forgot what it was like to just exist without apologizing for it. And in that moment, I saw the pattern instantly. every time I stayed quiet before, I wasn't just avoiding conflict, I was erasing myself. I was teaching people that my perspective didn't matter, that my boundaries were negotiable, and that I could be counted on to absorb whatever they needed me to absorb. And the thing is that they believed me because I kept showing up that way. So when I finally spoke up, it wasn't just about that comment. It was about every comment I didn't address, every moment I minimized myself, every time I chose their comfort over my integrity. And once I said it out loud, I couldn't unsay it, but I didn't want to, because I didn't want to go back to pretending I didn't hear myself. Since that moment, I have said similar things to friends, coworkers, even strangers who thought that they could say whatever they wanted and I would stay quiet. Not anymore. That moment didn't just change the conversation, it changed me. But let's talk about you for a minute, because you have these moments too. The work scenario. You're in a meeting, you finally say something. You lean forward and someone interrupts you. You feel yourself shrink by an inch. You tell yourself it's fine, but it's not fine. The motherhood scenario. Your in-laws comment on your parenting. Your chest tightens, your jaw locks for a half a second, you swallow it again because it's not worth it. The relationship scenario. Your partner dismisses something you care about. You start to speak up, but then you smooth it over instead. You call it discretion, you call it maturity, but inside you know the truth. You're training yourself to disappear. And every single time you do this, something changes. Not in the room, but in you. Women don't stay quiet because we're unsure. We stay quiet because we have been conditioned to believe that silence keeps peace. Speaking up creates problems. Being direct makes us difficult. Correcting people makes us rude, and protecting ourselves makes us too much. But silence doesn't keep the peace. Silence keeps you from being seen. And here's the part that we rarely say out loud. Self-silencing slowly rewrites your identity. Every time you bite your tongue, you reinforce a role you never chose. Research shows that women are interrupted 33% more often than men in professional settings. We are also more likely to be penalized for speaking directly, not because we're wrong, but because directness in women reads as aggression to people who expect us to soften everything. So we learn to hedge. We say, I'm not sure. We say, this might be a silly question. We say, sorry, can I just... We apologize for existing in conversation. And here's the part that nobody tells you about, is that the more you do this, the more you start to believe it. You start to think maybe your ideas aren't that strong, maybe your instincts aren't that sharp, and maybe you should just stay quiet and let someone else handle it. But I'm here to tell you that that is not the truth. And the moment that you recognize it, the moment that you see your silence wasn't a flaw, it was conditioning, everything changes. Let's name the identity shift you're stepping into. Your current belief is that my silence keeps peace. The belief that you actually need is that my voice creates alignment within myself first. Stop making other people's reactions your responsibility and start making your self-respect your top priority. Here's what happens the moment that you finally speak up. 1, you feel your power again, not ego. Power, the internal kind, the kind that says, I heard myself today and I trusted myself. That feeling, it doesn't go away, it builds. Every time you speak up from that place, you are telling your nervous system, we are safe being seen. 2, you upgrade your identity. You stop being the woman who absorbs everything. You become the woman who sets the tone. And people notice, not because you changed your clothes or got a new title, but because you started showing up. 3, you shift the dynamic. People treat you differently because you treat yourself differently. When you stop tolerating disrespect, people stop disrespecting you. Not always immediately and not always gracefully, but eventually they adjust because you are no longer available for the old version of the relationship. 4, you stop carrying conversations you didn't start. You stop cleaning up messes. You stop holding the emotional weight. You stop being the buffer. And suddenly you have energy again. Energy you didn't realize that you were spending on everyone else's comfort. 5, you start to breathe again. Your nervous system relaxes, your confidence rises, your clarity returns. And all of this because when you're not constantly managing everyone else's reactions, you finally have space to notice your own. When you speak up, you do not create conflict, you create alignment. You create a version of yourself that you can actually respect. And that feeling, that changes everything. Because once you know what it feels like to respect yourself, you cannot go back to tolerating situations that ask you to betray it. Here's the framework that helps you speak clearly without being confrontational, and I call it CLEAR. C, clarify what's actually bothering you. Say the real thing, not the softened version. Not, I feel like maybe this isn't working. Say, this isn't working. The more direct you are, the less room there is for misinterpretation. L, listen to your gut. That immediate reaction that you feel, that is your data because your body knows before your brain can tell you. So if something feels off, I'm here to tell you it's off. You don't need to justify it. You don't need to build a case. You just need to trust it. E, evaluate the cost of silence. Ask yourself, if I stay quiet, will I respect myself tomorrow? Ask yourself, if this was my daughter, would I want her to stay quiet? If the answer is no, you already know. A, align with your values. Speaking up is not aggression, it is integrity. You are not attacking anyone. You are simply refusing to pretend that you didn't hear what you heard. R, respond directly, not dramatically. One sentence is enough. You don't need a speech. You just need to be clear. That's not accurate. I see it differently. I'm not okay with that. Here's what I need moving forward. Short, direct, done. You don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to explain yourself into the ground. You just need to say it. And then let it sink in. Here's your clarity and action reset for the week. Say one thing that you have been swallowing. Just one. It could be, actually, I see it differently. That comment isn't accurate. I'm not okay with it. Here's what I need moving forward. Because your voice doesn't return all at once. It returns one sentence at a time. And that one sentence, I am letting you know that it will change you. Not because it changes the other person, but because it changes how you see yourself. You'll realize that you are not the person who stays quiet anymore. You are the person that speaks up. And once you know that about yourself, you're going to continue doing it. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a woman who has been quiet for too long. And if you are ready to reconnect with your voice, download the Clarity in 10 Reset, your daily practice for building self-trust through clarity. And when you're ready to go deeper, book a free clarity call with me so we can walk through where you have been silencing yourself and what it looks like to step into your power. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And remember that your silence is not protecting you. Your voice is. So until next time, stay fierce, stay bold, but most importantly, stay unapologetically you.